With neither chamber of the West Virginia Legislature agreeing on bills regulating Marcellus Shale drilling, Senate President Earl Ray Tomblin, acting as governor, asked for an extra $2 million to hire more Department of Environmental Protection inspectors.
One of the largest potential economic opportunities for our great state lies with the natural gas and related materials found within the Marcellus Shale. The world that we live in shows the value of the energy that we have right here at home. The price of oil continues to increase, which in turn pushes up the price of gasoline. And the recent events in Japan remind us that even nuclear energy has its hazards. When something goes wrong, it can go terribly wrong. Here at home, we've been blessed to have plentiful sources of coal and gas, and the improvements in technology have made the Marcellus Shale viable here in West Virginia. It's a resource that we must tap and one that we must take advantage of. When we do so, we must do so in a way that is environmentally responsible. If we do this correctly, we can create jobs while protecting our environment. It was extremely disappointing to me that the legislature was unable to pass a piece of reasonable legislation regulating this aspect of the industry. The House was unable to pass a bill, and the version that the House was working on contains significant differences from the bill that the Senate passed. Given the divide that exists, I do not believe that a special session is warranted at this time. Until an agreement is reached, I will not waste the taxpayers' money and call a session. However, let me assure all parties that as governor, I will see to it that the Marcellus Shale development will be regulated in a reasonable manner by our Department of Environmental Protection. The DEP has wide authority to establish the needed regulations, and I'm confident that the gas in the Marcellus Shale will be developed in an environmentally friendly manner. The DEP does have significant authority through its permitting and regulatory process. It is true that there are some things that need to be resolved by statute, but in the absence of any agreement on these issues, I have a duty to work with our Department of Environmental Protection to provide reasonable regulations governing the industry. One of the issues that we need to address is the funding of more inspectors for DEP. This morning, I sent a request to the budget conferees asking for $2 million more, a move that will give DEP more manpower to complete the task effectively and efficiently. It is my hope that during this week of budgetary review that the legislature will approve this request. This emerging industry holds much promise for our citizens.
The West Virginia Legislature is meeting in special session to approve the fiscal year 2012 budget. Tomblin said the $2 million will come from the General Revenue Fund.
I've requested this money come from General Revenue to be for the funding. Obviously, there was, I think in the Senate bill, there was a section that would allow them to raise the fees, if I'm not mistaken. Randy, you may address that. But until legislation is passed in order to raise the fees to hire the other inspectors, I've requested it come from General Revenue.
The extra inspectors will help the DEP as they create new rules regulating the Marcellus Shale gas drilling.
I believe that the money that the governor is referring to is enough to add about 8 or 10 inspectors in the field. We would put those resources directly in the high traffic Marcellus areas. We'd put them there immediately. We think that is necessary to be done immediately. But that's gauging the number of people that we need for the activity that's going on out there is a constant process.
Some feel Tomblin's proposal was not enough, that legislation is still needed.
Well, it certainly is nice if the governor can get the DEP to have more inspectors and other people out there. But to say that we don't need the legislation is not true for surface owners. I mean, the DEP can do some environmental regulation, but right now the statute says they can drill one of these horrific horizontal wells 200 feet from your porch. The DEP is letting them bury the pit waste. They're putting these, if you own 40 acres, they're putting the well on your 40 acres that drains 640 acres, and it's all happening to you. Those are provisions. There were provisions in that in the House bill that would have dealt with those issues, and without legislation, we're still in a very bad position.
Reporting from Charleston, this is Stephen Allen Adams for West Virginia Watchdog.